Hey, 7th graders, Mr. Allard with another one of our flip lessons. Today we're going to be working an ed puzzle, so every once in a while a question's going to pop up. Make sure you answer that question to the best of your ability. You've got your notes here. They should be in your notebook already. You're going to add where the bold terms are to fill those sentences out. We're going to go New England. Okay, let me get over here. We're going to go this way. We're going to go to, let me get over here, Middle Colonies that way, and then we're going to finish up Southern Colonies and go that way. All right. Have any questions, hit me up on Schoology. Direct question to me, do direct messaging. Question for anyone in the class could answer. Just post it right to the update page. All right, here we go. There we go. So we're going to be talking about the colonial regions today. We're going to be looking at the geography, economic, political, and social aspects that made the New England, Middle, and Southern colonies different. All right, so the New England colonies, first thing we got to know, let me get out of the way here. First thing we got to know is what the colonies were. All right, so this is going to be New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. Maine is not a colony. Maine is part of the Massachusetts colony. Vermont is not a colony. Vermont is part of the is actually part of New York at this time period. All of these colonies are going to branch out from Massachusetts. Connecticut and Rhode Island, particularly, are going to be developed because of divisions within the Puritan religion. We'll talk a little bit more about that probably on Wednesday. Now I'm in the picture. Geography of the New England region. Rocky soil, lots of forests, miles of coastline, harsh winters, short summers. All of that lines up, as you can see from the little chart that we have there. Not a lot of farming going on. The soil's not good enough. There's not a long enough growing season. So when we look to the economic, that's going to be something that's going to produce a lot of different economic categories for the New England region. Why did the New England region have different economic resources than, let's say, the Southern region? It goes back to geography, right? And that geography is the same geography we talked about with the Native Americans. Economic activities: lumber, fishing, whaling, shipping, and trading. Also kind of shipbuilding could be in there with the shipping. This was a big time stop on the along the triangular trade. Pretty much anything coming up from the West Indies was being brought up to Boston, to New York, to Philadelphia, and then shipped over to England and other European countries to get manufactured into something else. And again, why was this happening? That's because of, what was going on with the geography. Now, we're not saying that nothing was grown there. Things were, but not in the big time cash crop of the middle colonies or the southern colonies. They were relying on trading. They were relying on shipping of goods to make a living, using those natural resources like lumber and things like that, using those natural coastlines to be able to send goods to and from not only within the colonies but across the globe as well. Political activities. Most New England cities and towns had what was called a town meeting. If there was something particular that they needed to discuss, that happened at the town meeting. To be a member of the town meeting, you had to be a member of the church. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about that when we get into kind of the social aspects of the New England region. The church dominated just about all facets of life in the New England colonies for a very, very long time. It was the reason why people were there with the Puritans, and it's going to be the dominant force of living in this area. All right, social aspects, very religious. The Pilgrims come first. The Puritans were kind of even more focused on religion than the Pilgrims were, and they're settling this area for religious freedom. They were being persecuted in England. They wanted an area where they could practice their religion freely without being held to the legal and economic and social rules of England, and they could develop their own society that way. Middle colonies. All right, the middle colonies is where we're going to be. All right, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware. Again, Vermont, as you can see on the map, is an area that is going to be claimed by both New Hampshire and Vermont or New Hampshire and New York for a very long time. So that is not going to be part of the colonies. It's going to be kind of a mixture for most of the colonial time period, and really not going to be developed into a state until once we become kind of the United States. But these are going to be the middle colonies, easy to remember, they're right smack dab in the middle. Geography, very good farmland, great soil. I mean, we live here, what do we have around us? We have a whole lot of farms, all right, that can grow kind of different variety of different crops that we can use. Cold winters actually helps with that good farmland. Lots and lots of moisture in the soil to help us grow those crops come during that long summer. And you have some coastlines, some of the big time. You have New York, you have Philadelphia, you have Wilmington down in Delaware. That coastline can be used for trading. It can be used for fishing. So you do see some of it down, some of those economic activities down in those areas. Also, you can ship goods from the interior of the middle colonies. You can get them to New York, get them to Philadelphia, and get them shipped to a variety of different places across the colonies. Economic activities. You really got to remember breadbasket colonies. If you can remember that about the middle colonies, you'll remember pretty much everything comes from that for the middle colonies. They're mostly grains, right? Wheat, barley, and rye that's going to be used to make bread in other places. They're not manufacturing and baking bread. It's not going to last that long. All right. So basically, the middle colonies are feeding not only the rest of the colonies, but also they're big time feeding places in Europe as well and providing these different grains. They're raising livestock, cows, pigs, etc., and they're also doing a lot of trading. But what are they trading? They're shipping out those grains as part of the triangular trade. They're receiving goods as part of the triangular trade and making use of them in those ways. Political activities. We talked about, and we're going to talk a little bit about this more. There was assemblies in Pennsylvania, assemblies in New York, assemblies in New Jersey and in Delaware. Different from the town meetings that you saw in New England. People had a vote on these issues. Some places had town meetings. People had a vote on these issues. They're electing people to discuss these political issues, and really kind of, again, that's going to plant the little seed for what's going to come into the American Revolution. All right, of this being able to self-govern themselves in the colonies. Social aspects. This is a very diverse region. You're getting people from all over Europe. There's people from Sweden, people from England, people from Germany, people from all different walks of life. The biggest group that is coming into this area are going to be the Quakers. They settled in Pennsylvania. And they're allowing people, they wanted their own religious freedom, and they felt that they couldn't take away the religious freedom of others. So they're allowing other people to practice their own religion. They're very democratic. They give a lot of leeway on women's rights. Women can be preachers. Women can be leaders in the church. Women can speak in the assemblies and things like that. So this is going to be a very socially diverse area. Southern colonies, Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. These are all areas that we would, we talk about them being the southern United States now. Why? Because they were, they're the southern colonies. They're in the southern part of the United States. No Florida yet. That's owned by Spain. Georgia's kind of got a little bit of it cut off because, again, that was Spain. No West Virginia. That's part of Virginia and will be part of Virginia until about 1863. More on that later. All right. The southern region's geography, cool winters, long summers, allows for that long growing season. Large, wide rivers, flat land. Go back to look at your notes for the southeast cultural region for Native Americans, and pretty much all that stuff is going to remain true for the southern colonial region as well. Economic activities, all right? Just remember this sentence. Southern colonies are growing cash crops on plantations with slave labor. That is going to dominate all walk of life for the southern colonies. They're growing those cash crops, mostly tobacco and cotton. They're going to need trade goods, so they're producing those goods and they're trading them, to England, to the middle colonies, even to the northern colonies and New England colonies in some way, shape, or form, bringing back the goods that they need to provide, because they're not growing a lot of grains, they're not growing a lot of food stuff, so they're bringing that stuff in through trade. Political activities, we talked about Virginia, Jamestown being kind of the big goal there, being the start of everything. They created the House of Burgesses there. That's going to be the first colonial assembly. So the first self-government in the colonies is going to happen at the House of Burgesses in the southern counties. They're also going to have some other assemblies, some town meetings going on in some of the more rural areas, but again, this is going to be planting those seeds for the growth of political activities throughout these colonial regions. Social aspects, slavery is going to be slavery and the slave trade is going to be a big part of social aspects. The hierarchy of slaves being at the bottom of the social ladder, and so on and so forth, with plantation owners being up near the top. Few big-time plantation owners, but they wielded a lot of economic and social power. These colonies are economically focused, right? We're going to trade for the goods that we need. We're going to trade the stuff that we grow for the stuff that we need. And this is going to be one of the few areas where people from Europe come who are already pretty well off. Most of the people in the middle colonies and New England colonies, not all of them, but most of them are going to be people who were not of the highest classes in England and looking for that opportunity. Here you're going to see more people looking to expand their businesses and expand their business empires by coming to the southern colonies. All right, that's our flip lesson for tonight. Remember to answer those questions on Edpuzzle as well. If you're having any issues logging in or anything like that, shoot me a message on Schoology. Remember, your stuff on Edpuzzle is the same as it is for everything else, so it should be relatively easy. All right, have a good one, guys.